So the Memorial Cup officially gets underway tomorrow in Saginaw, but I have a slate of news items that have nothing to do with Saginaw, London, or the rest of the Memorial Cup. So let's dive right into it. First things first, I want to say congratulations to Adam Dennis, the general manager of the North Bay Battalion. It's been an impressive run these last few seasons, and the general manager, Adam Dennis, has been rewarded for his work by receiving the Jim Gregory OHL General Manager of the Year award. So it's a big honor for GMs in the Ontario Hockey League, and Dennis deserves the recognition because going into the 23-24 season, there was a lot of question marks around this North Bay Battalion team. Would they be sellers? Would they be buyers? Stand pat? Well, Adam Dennis ignored all the question marks, focused on the task at hand, and built a team that made it again to the Eastern Conference Final. This team really exceeding expectations with the play of Anthony Romani. Yeah, Dalen Wakely had a great season. Owen Van Steensel, Ty Nelson, and then Dom DiVincentis, one of the top goaltenders in the league, gets hurt. So then you find out you've got a great goalie in Mike McIver as well. So the scouting department doing a great job, and Adam Dennis being recognized for the hard work. So this team, they have won 3 straight Central Division titles, and they've now gone to the Eastern Conference Final in 3 consecutive seasons. This is the first time that a team in the Eastern Conference has made this feat since the Belleville Bulls did it from 2007 to 2009. So it's a great accomplishment for this North Bay Battalion team. Dennis, he's going to be very busy going into next season because a lot of players are graduating from the runs they've had these last couple of seasons. So you have to figure North Bay will probably take a step back, but with good drafting and maybe a few moves, this North Bay Battalion team could be competitive for that Central Division title again, maybe in the next couple of seasons. And we'll see what they could do going into next year. So again, congratulations to Adam Dennis in being named the OHL General Manager of the Year. And some pretty big news announced this morning coming from the Guelph Storm. They've announced that Cory Stillman will become their new head coach. Stillman becomes the 18th coach in franchise history after Chad Wiseman was let go 3 weeks ago. Stillman, he spent 3 seasons as the head coach of the Sudbury Wolves before he moved on to become the assistant coach of the Arizona Coyotes. So Stillman, he had a lengthy career in the National Hockey League, but before that, in his junior days, he was actually named Rookie of the Year at the Windsor Spitfires back in 1991 and won a league championship with the Peterborough Petes in 1993. So I feel as though Stillman, he's going to be a solid voice behind the bench for this Guelph Storm team. He's did a great job with the Sudbury Wolves in those 3 seasons. And for Chad Wiseman, when he did leave, I kind of wondered if George Burnett would take over because Burnett has a long history when it comes to coaching in the Ontario Hockey League. But Burnett deciding, no, we're going to go with Chris Stillman. And for Stillman, he had some great work there with players like Quentin Byfield, Jack Thompson, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, because that was a great core with that team. It's unfortunate the pandemic cut things short with that team because they were kind of on track to go on a deep playoff run that season in 2020. But of course, no playoffs that year as the season was canceled. But for Stillman, I think he's going to do a great job with this Guelph Storm team. They're going to be a lot younger going into next season, and I think this is probably a great spot for him to be in to develop a core and to get this team competitive in the next few seasons in the Midwest Division. Now, sticking with Guelph, it was posted yesterday on X by a reporter that the Storm may have a new look. They're looking at rebranding from the looks of things. It was 3 logos were found on the Canadian Intellectual Property Office. The logos, they were filed May 15th, and it's quite the drastic change. So I'm going to start putting the logos here. So these are the examples that were posted on X. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on these logos. They're black and white, so we don't know if the crimson red color will be kept. Of course, the word mark is the big one. I'm figuring would probably become a logo on the front of a jersey, but still black and white. It looks okay. Maybe add a little crimson red. I think it could stand out a little bit. I'm not sure how this will all play out because we haven't heard any confirmation yet from the Guelph Storm organization. There's also an S logo all on its own. So that's the letter S from the word Marc. That could maybe serve as a main logo. We see that with the Kingston Frontenacs, where they use the letter K as their main logo. The Mississauga Majors did that with the letter M. So maybe that's a direction the Guelph Storm are heading. It looks kind of cool with the puck in the middle. But the one thing that's really neat is the letter G. So this one here, it's in the middle and it has a lightning bolt shaped S. And it kind of reminds me of the Tampa Bay Lightning shoulder patch in a way. Also, I'm kind of wondering if that S with the lightning kind of mark is kind of a throwback to their original logo when the S was in the shape of a tornado. So you kind of still have that weather theme with the letter S. So for Storm. But this team, since they joined the Ontario Hockey League or relocated to Guelph in 1991, they've only had 3 logos. Their first logo was the blue and red from 1991 to 1996. I remember as a kid seeing the Rangers play the Guelph Storm when they were in these jerseys. Dan Cloutier, yeah, he was the goaltender in that game, I remember. And he was named first star after that game went to overtime. And I just remember how the Rangers couldn't get anything past this Dan Cloutier guy. And then, of course, he ended up playing in the National Hockey League. But I know there's a lot of people who love this jersey and they'd like to go back to this look. Then they introduced the Tornado logo, which lasted from 1996 until 2018. That one was on a black jersey at first, and then we had a red, and then it adopted the crimson red color. I kind of like this logo the most out of all the Guelph Storm options over their history, but it could go either way between this one and then, of course, the logo that they have now, which they switched to in 2018. They just took that tornado and put it front, so you could see both eyes as if the tornado is coming at you. But if they are looking to change, we'll have to wait and see when this is officially announced. I kind of wonder, though, if maybe these logos that were on the Canadian licensing page, if maybe this will become a third jersey. That's kind of what I'm wondering. But, of course, we'll have to wait and see. And put your comments down below. What do you think of this potential change with the Guelph Storm? Now, sticking with logos, the Steelheads on social media made their first reference as the Brampton Steelheads. They used the altered logo where instead of saying Mississauga, it says Brampton. So I'll put that here. And it was the first time they've used that logo since the end of the regular season. We talked about it a few months ago, how the team was moving from the Paramount Fine Food Center to the CAA Center. And they're still a Peel Region team. And that's what Elliot Kerr said in the interview when I talked to him a few months back. That they still want to, be in the community in Mississauga. So they're going to be doing different events this summer, and this was the first time that they mentioned the name Brampton Steelhead. So I know it's not a big deal, but if you're a jersey nerd or a logo nerd or whatever like myself, you kind of get excited when you see something like that for the first time. That's why I'm just mentioning it here. So it's going to take a bit, I think, to get used to saying Brampton Steelheads as well. I'm still used to the Brampton Battalion name going back to those days, but now getting used to saying Brampton Steelheads instead of the Mississauga Steelheads. So we'll get used to that together. And finally, some interesting news from the National Hockey League. Marc Savard has left the Calgary Flames. Now, the Windsor Spitfires, they still have a head coach vacancy. And when the word came out that Savard was parting ways with the Calgary Flames, some have been asking if he could return to Windsor, because remember, he used to be the head coach of the Windsor Spitfires. He ended up leaving Windsor to join the Calgary Flames. And from all things right now, it seems very unlikely that he returns to Windsor. It sounds like he'll be joining the Toronto Maple Leafs under Craig Berube, but still nothing has been finalized at the time of recording. But Savard, he did have some good success when he was the head coach of the Spitfires. He had a record of 88, 35, 8-4, and was behind the bench when Windsor went all the way to Game 7 of the OHL Championship in 2022. Of course, in that series, they ended up losing to the Hamilton Bulldogs. But the head coach search, it's been quiet with the Windsor Spitfires. I know today we finally found out who's taking over with the Guelph Storm, but with Windsor, the rumors continue to be Greg Walters possibly landing there. Of course, his suspension will be lifted next month, so we have to wait for that officially. But it's not necessarily set in stone that Walters would end up with the Windsor Spitfires. It also sounds like the Sudbury Wolves are interested in talking with Walters. So Walters, once he's has a suspension lifted, can then talk to teams, and then we'll figure out, does he return to the OHL? Does he look elsewhere? And who ends up filling one of the coaching vacancies in the OHL? Because we've got Windsor, Sudbury, and Owen Sound. Those are the three teams right now, off the top of my head, who are still looking for a head coach. And we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. So that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on any of these news items. Thank you very much for all your support, for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.